Hello again, and welcome to the ESL for You podcast, the podcast that explores fascinating topics while you develop your listening skills and expand your vocabulary. I'm your host, Faby, and today we're going to talk about personality and intelligence and how they are measured and influenced. Personality and intelligence are two important aspects of our individual differences that affect our behavior, cognition, and emotions. But what are they? And how do they work? Well, let's find out. First, let's talk about personality. Personality is the set of relatively stable traits, characteristics, and patterns of behavior that make us unique as individuals. It is influenced by both genetic and environmental factors. It is important because it affects our preferences, attitudes, values, goals, and relationships. And you may have heard about personality disorders. Well, we will talk about that in a future episode. But, let's continue with personality. It is not a simple or static thing. There are different ways to describe and measure personality. One of the most widely used methods is the 5-factor model, also known as the Big Five. So the Big Five consists of 5 broad dimensions of personality, which are openness to experience, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. So let me explain, because these are all strange words, I guess. So openness to experience is the degree to which we are curious, imaginative, creative, willing to try new things. And conscientiousness is a degree, it's just a funny word, conscientiousness. Let me say that again, conscientiousness. Well, that's the degree to which we are organized, responsible, hardworking, and self-disciplined. Extraversion is the degree to which we are outgoing, sociable, energetic, and assertive. Agreeableness is a degree to which we are friendly, cooperative, compassionate, and trusting. And finally, neuroticism is the degree to which we are anxious, moody, insecure, and emotional. So each of these dimensions can be measured by using a self-report questionnaire called the NEO-PR, Neuroticism, Extraversion, Openness, Personality Inventory, Revised. So the NEO-PR consists of 240 items that ask you to rate how much you agree or disagree with the statements that describe your personality. And when you go to a job interview, I think they actually use this questionnaire. So, anyway, for example, one item is I am always prepared. You can answer on a scale from strongly disagree to strongly agree. And every time you go to a job interview, maybe you will find this kind of questionnaire. So that is a NEO-PR questionnaire. Okay, so anyway, the NEO-PR can give you a score for each of the 5 dimensions, as well as for 6 facets or subdimensions within each dimension. For example, the 6 facets of openness to experience are fantasy, aesthetics, feelings, actions, ideas, and values. So how do we improve our personality, and how do we cope with personality differences? Well, there are several strategies that can help us develop our personality or deal with others who have different personalities from us. One of them is self-awareness. We need to be aware of our own personality traits and how they affect our behavior and emotions. We need to recognize our strengths and weaknesses and seek feedback from others who know us well. And another strategy is self-regulation. So self-awareness and self-regulation. We need to control our impulses and emotions that may interfere with our goals or relationships. We need to choose appropriate coping strategies that suit our personality type. For example, if we are high in neuroticism, we can use relaxation techniques or positive affirmations to reduce our stress or anxiety. A third strategy is empathy. Even though I am kind of, I don't believe in empathy, because you really have to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. And sometimes that's not possible because you grew up in a different environment. But well, empathy will be another topic for some other episode. But well, the third strategy is empathy. We need to understand or try to understand the feelings and perspectives of others who have different personalities from us. We need to respect, even if you don't understand and you cannot be empathetic, we need to respect their differences and appreciate their contributions. And, I try to be empathetic, and especially when I teach, because I teach people from all over the world, different cultures with a different mindset. So we need to respect them, even if you don't understand them, because you may not. You need to respect their differences and appreciate their contributions and communicate effectively and cooperate with them in a constructive way. So these are just some examples of strategies that you can use to improve your personality or cope with personality differences. You can also find more online or in books or courses on personality development or interpersonal skills. The main thing is to be aware of your personality and use it wisely. So the other day I was talking to a friend about someone, she was actually talking about her friend, this other friend who she didn't really like because she was like this and like that. So I was like, so why don't you like her? We're all like mirrors. They used to say that in the Toltec used to say that. They would say that we were all like mirrors, like smoking mirrors, that we could not see through the smoke, but you were exactly like me and I was exactly like you. So if you hate someone or if you hate something about someone, then you need to analyze yourself because you probably are the same. If you love someone, then the same thing that you love that person for will be something that it describes your own personality. So, well, anyway, let's move on to intelligence. Intelligence, as you already know, is the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills in various domains. It is influenced by both genetic and environmental factors. It is important because it affects our academic achievement, career success, problem-solving ability, and general well-being. But intelligence is not a single thing either. Seriously. There are different ways to define and measure intelligence. One of the most widely used methods is the IQ test. Everybody's heard about the IQ test, intelligence quotient test. The IQ test consists of a series of tasks that measure different aspects of intelligence, such as verbal reasoning, numerical reasoning, spatial reasoning, memory, and processing speed. The IQ test can give you a score that represents your general intelligence level compared to other people your age group. The average IQ score is 100. Higher scores indicate higher intelligence and lower scores indicate lower intelligence. But, well, to me, if you ask me, I think EQ is way more important than IQ. EQ, emotional quotient. So you can take both tests if you want to know how smart you are. IQ, intelligence quotient, EQ, emotional quotient. So just try to keep a balance between those two and you will be unstoppable. But, well, IQ tests are not perfect measures of intelligence. There have been some limitations and criticisms, such as cultural bias, test anxiety, motivation effects, and validity issues. Another way to measure intelligence is by using multiple intelligence theory. So the multiple intelligences theory was proposed by Howard Gardner in 1983. He argued that there are at least 8 types of intelligence that are independent from each other. Linguistic intelligence, which is the ability to use language. Logical mathematical intelligence, the ability to use logic and math. Spatial intelligence, the ability to perceive and manipulate space. Musical intelligence, the ability to appreciate or produce music. Bodily or kinesthetic intelligence, the ability to control and coordinate body movements. Interpersonal intelligence, the ability to understand and interact with others. Intrapersonal intelligence, the ability to understand oneself. And naturalistic intelligence, the ability to recognize and classify natural phenomena. So each of these types of intelligence can be measured by using specific tasks or activities that tap into them. For example, linguistic intelligence can be measured by using vocabulary tests or writing tasks. Musical intelligence can be measured by using pitch discrimination tests or musical composition tasks. Interpersonal intelligence can be measured by using social skills tests or role-playing scenarios. So, how do we improve our intelligence? That's a great question. And how do we use our intelligence effectively? Well, there are several strategies that can help us increase our intelligence or apply it in various situations. One of them is learning. We need to learn new things constantly and challenge ourselves with difficult tasks that require us to use different types of intelligence. We need to practice our skills regularly and seek feedback from others who can help us improve. We need to expose ourselves to diverse sources of information and perspectives that can broaden our horizons. Yeah, so different perspectives. We need to be open to different perspectives because they help us, see ahead or think ahead, actually think outside the box. Yeah, for example, I used to think, again, used to, not anymore, that women from Arabian countries were treated badly and that they suffered a lot. But then I talked to several of them because I was teaching them English. They're super happy with their lives and with their religion, and they really love to wear their hijab and worship Allah. So it's a different perspective. Our perspective is not all that matters. We need to seek different sources of information and perspectives. Okay, another strategy is metacognition. This is one of my favorite ones. We need to think about our thinking and monitor our cognitive processes. We need to identify our strengths and weaknesses in different domains of intelligence and adjust our strategies accordingly. We need to evaluate our performance and outcomes critically and learn from our mistakes. This is my favorite one because, many people are so afraid of making mistakes and they don't even realize that it is important to make mistakes in order to learn. It's part of the learning process. Okay, a third strategy is transfer. We need to transfer our knowledge and skills from one domain to another. We need to apply what we have learned in one context to a new context that requires similar or related abilities. We need to integrate our multiple intelligences in a creative way that produces novel solutions or products. So transfer your intelligence. And these are just some examples of strategies that you can use to improve your intelligence or use it effectively. You can also find more online or in books or courses on cognitive development or learning skills. The main thing is to be curious about your intelligence and use it wisely. Well, that's all for today's episode on personality and intelligence. I hope you learned something new and interesting today. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow our podcast. Well, actually, my podcast, and leave me a review with your on your favorite platform, YouTube or my website or here on Spotify. So, thank you so much for listening. And remember that everybody, from my perspective, I think that everybody is intelligent, but sometimes we don't know we are. And as Albert Einstein once said, you cannot judge a fish on its ability to climb trees. So maybe you're not intelligent on one thing, or you're not good at one thing, but you are good at other things. So thank you so much again for listening, and I hope to see you next time.